Tonight, the city of Lagos once agog as all routes.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa, we break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core
A
TV
24-hour news station.
Another beautiful Tuesday morning here in Lagos. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us on Core Digest, your ultimate news and current affairs program exclusive to Core TV News here in Lagos. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Yesterday we talked at length about community development, the cry of the people, and of course we touched on some bad road networks in Isheri North, for local government of Ogun State. We also got called from faraway Ilori in Kwara State and Osun State, people talking about the bad condition of their roads and other social amenities in their vicinity. Now, just this morning again, since Friday thereabout, just along the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, I believe is sharing enough for local government in Ogun State, and that place is just opposite the Fagbems filling station, close to Opik. All of this annexed before Bega if you are going into Lagos. There's a cops there. So many eyewitnesses have said that this cops has been there since Friday last week, and as we speak right now, that cops is still lying along the road, decomposing already and becoming a nuisance. Now, the amazing thing about this is while the Eid Kabir celebration was ongoing and people selling and buying rams here and there, the ram sellers and the buyers went ahead with their activities all along while this cops was lying. Now, the viewer's discretion of this clip you're about to see is advised, but we have to show it to you and let you see what exactly is happening on this particular road. Now, that decomposed body has been there since Friday and is still there. Now, we're using this opportunity to call on all government, concerned government agencies to ensure that these cops, I mean, this is the road, this is a federal road that people take into the commercial hub of the nation. Now, there's a junction just before the OPIC Event Center. And on that particular Friday, there were men of the Federal Road Safety Corps who were trying to help out with the traffic. I don't know, maybe they didn't see these cops, but I doubt if they were so engrossed in their own duty and not finding out prior to the covering of these cops, the cops was there without cover. So I'm sure that certain people must have seen it. But the big question is, what are we going to do about it? We hope that relevant government agencies and authorities will do something about that. Now, back to our focus of discussion on Core Digest this Tuesday. We're going to EKITI. Of course, the EKITI crisis has been here for a while as regards who should be governor. Of course, the people came out on June 21 earlier this year to vote en masse. Ayodele Fayose, candidate of the People's Democratic Party, won in all 16 local governments in that state. And thereafter, there were other court cases from 11 challenging the credibility of the governor-elect concerning that elections and other tribunal issues coming up. Of course, you heard about the beating up of a judge, the tearing of the court, the destruction of a record book, and how some people who now have been called sympathizers of the governor-elect stormed court, the High Court in Ado-Ekiti, what the NBA has now described as a desecration of the temple of justice. We're talking about the crisis just before transition. Of course, you'll recall the transition is just in a few days from now, October 16. I'm joined live in our studio by Owosheni Ajayi, and he's the former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, Ekiti State, as well as being a member of the Transition Committee of the incoming administration of the governor-elect. Good morning, Owosheni.
Good morning, viewers. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for finding time to join us.
Thank you.
Now, just a day after the June 21 election, we saw the incumbent governor congratulating the governor-elect, and he says, and I quote him, that if this be the wish of EKITI people, then so be it. How would you describe the works? Because we also heard about a transition committee between the governor-elect and the incumbent governor. How would you describe the transition process as it is now in EKITI State?
Let me thank Nigerians for the love and solidarity they have shown the governor-elect of EKITI State. And of course, we want to thank the good people of EKITI State too for voting massively for the governor-elect. After the election, it was obvious to everybody that that election happened to be one of the freest elections ever conducted by INEC. There was nothing anybody could criticize in that election. Because out of 177 wards that we have in the state, the governor-elect won in virtually all, less 16 wards. He won even in the ward of the incumbent governor. He won in all the wards of the incumbent senators and incumbent House of Assembly members. So there was nothing anybody could do than to accept that as as a free and fair election. So, and Nigerians were happy when the incumbent governor accepted that result and congratulated the governor-elect. And immediately the governor-elect went to the governor's office to embrace him for showing that magnanimity. Because by and large, whether you are serving the people under APC or you are serving the people through PDP, we are still the same family. The same EKITI people, the same homogeneous EKITI people, speaking the same Yoruba language, speaking the same EKITI dialect, whom fortune have brought together in EKITI political soul. So we are all one. So we were all happy, and the governor-elect went, and there was to be a transition committee. And I happened to have followed the governor-elect there. And the incumbent governor asked us to come up with our own list of the transition committee, which the governor-elect immediately sent. He sent the name of about 11 of us to represent the incoming administration. Then the waiting started. Weeks, months, we didn't hear anything from the incumbent governor any longer concerning the transition committee. So when calls were not going through from the governor-elect to the incumbent governor, then the governor-elect inaugurated us to start at least skeletal work, compiling informations.
If I get it clearly, you were waiting for the incumbent governor to call you.
To come up with his own list and inaugurate that transition committee. It's supposed to be a joint transition committee.
Okay.
So our own list was sent to the governor, to the incumbent governor by the governor-elect.
All right.
But weeks passed, months passed, the incumbent governor did not respond to that list. So when the waiting could no longer continue, the governor-elect inaugurated us, and we started working. So along the way, just a couple about 3 weeks ago, the incumbent governor was able to get across. The governor-elect was able to get across to the governor again, and the transition committee was now inaugurated by the incumbent governor.
Okay.
We only met for the inauguration. We only sat once, and that was the inauguration. And thereafter, all these problems started. The rumor now started going around that the E11 case is to be used to stall the inauguration of the governor-elect.
Okay.
To me as a lawyer, I found that very strange. I found that very, very strange that a governor has been elected under a democratic process. He is to be sworn in.
We'll get to the E11 case, but let's do some justice to this transition process. What stage are you now? Have you been able to meet with the other transition committee from the incumbent governor?
That is exactly what I said. I said, after our first meeting of inauguration, the committee has not been able to sit.
Why?
Because of mistrust. Because of mistrust created by this E11 case that has generated crisis in the state now. Mistrust came in. The two committees could not meet. We were to meet further and iron out our programs, including transition, including gray areas of the outgoing government that are supposed to live with us, which we are supposed to know. But the 11 problems came in. And of course, the killing of one of our supporters.
Okay, so you're saying categorically
the problem that so the mistrust came in.
Okay, so that means you could not continue,
with the
transition process.
Yes.
Was it that there was a meeting that was designated that your own group did not attend, or the other side just decided not to attend the meeting?
You know, at our inaugural meeting, we agreed to schedule programs. We were to submit our own proposals for the transition, which our chairman, the chairman of our transition committee, Chief Dipo Nishulowo, submitted to the chairman of the outgoing government committee, headed by the secretary to the state government. They were to call meeting because they are the incumbent government. Okay. After submitting the proposals, they are now to call the joint meeting of the two groups so that we can continue our meeting. That meeting had not been called by them.
That's all right. And you said the reason why that friction now occurs is because of the court cases that arose afterwards.
I wouldn't even say so. I wouldn't even say so because the crisis generated by the E11 cases should ordinarily have nothing to do with transition committee because the E11 case, the government is not a party. It is a case of individual members in that E11 challenging the eligibility of the governor-elect. That is a pre-election matter. That matter has been there before election. It's a pre-election matter. It's a matter that is not time-bound. It's a matter that can even continue to the Supreme Court even after the swearing. So ordinarily, it should not be a problem for the transition committee.
So why did it become a problem?
We were still perturbed about why the secretary to the state government, who is a co-chairman of that committee, has not called a meeting. Because there is no justification for not calling a meeting.
Okay, if he has not called the meeting, what attempts have you made to ensure that a meeting holds, because a transition is necessary for the smooth continuity?
That is exactly what I told you. That is exactly what I told you. I said when the committee was set up, it was inaugurated, we were to send in our own proposals for the smooth takeoff of the committee. We sent it in. We discussed with the secretary of the government. It was to call a meeting, and he told us he will send us notice of meeting. Okay. When this was not forthcoming, the governor-elect had to put a call to the incumbent governor, and which warranted the governor-elect to go to the governor's office to discuss the issue of the transition with
the incumbent government.
With the incumbent. They had a meeting in privacy and they agreed that certain things should be done. And thereafter, 2 members were sent from the governor's office to liaise with us.
Okay.
And a budget was proposed, sent back to the governor. And up till now, nothing happened.
It's all right.
Those are attempts we have been making on our part.
Okay.
But it appears as if the incumbent government is prevaricating, and there was nothing we could do about it. So, than to go ahead with our own solo arrangement for the inauguration.
It's all right. We'll be joined shortly by the APC chairman in EKITI, Jide Awe, to find out his own side of the story. Okay, Jide Awe, good morning. Thank you for joining us on Call Digest today.
Good morning.
Well, I know that one way or the other, you might want to first tell me that you are not a part of the government, but that you are a party chieftain. But I want to believe that you are the closest to the incumbent governor that we can get on the show today. I've been speaking with the former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice of Ekiti State, who also happens to be a member of the Transition Committee of the incoming administration of the governor-elect. And he said that every attempt to ensure that there is a meeting between their own transition committee and the one on the other side has not been fruitful, that they've been expecting a call from the SSG, and that as it is now, there is no transition program going on between the incumbent governor and the governor-elect. What exactly can you say in your reaction to that?
I knew when they were inaugurated, and I watched it on the telly, and whether meeting has been called or not, I've not been following the activity of the transition. But I knew they were fully inaugurated. That Attorney General was even the spokesman of the other. So, if they have not been called for meetings, maybe it is within them, and they should have made attempt to approach the chairman of that committee, and I think he will be able to clarify that.
It's all right. There are opinions from certain quarters that the APC is trying to frustrate the inauguration of the new administration come October 16. Don't you think that if there is no transition program going on now, does that not further corroborate the position of that school of thought?
I want to make it clear, and I want it to have faith at the back of your mind, that APC as a party has no power to delay, to postpone, or to cancel inauguration. We are a political party, and I don't think we have such power.
It's all right. I read on one of the newspapers this morning that your party has accused the PDP of planning another round of mayhem with the aim of intimidating the state ahead of the October 16 inauguration of the governor-elect. Well, what can you say about that?
We have that on good authority, and I've made a petition to the Commissioner of Police, because we have it on good authority that the PDP in Ekiti State are recruiting thugs, even from neighboring states. We are not hiding it at all. We have it on good authority. They can do it. They have done it before. And this is why we are calling on all security agents to be at alert.
But
they are actually planning it.
But what is the logical reasoning behind that? If a governor-elect is supposed to take over in October 16, why do you think such a governor will want to cause crisis in the state?
There are lots of underlying factors. Just last week, you are aware of this, that the judiciary was disrupted in Ekiti State, and up to now, they have not been able to function. And you know the mayhem that happened in Ekiti. All the known offices with Secretariat of APC, all other offices, local government secretariats, or all known leaders of APC, their offices, their houses, their shops were touched and destroyed. because somebody is assuming office, somebody that is known with all this character. So, the situation in which we are in EKITI is quite different from what we are perceiving from outside. Starting unleashing in mayhem on the people of EKITI. Properties worth of millions have been destroyed already. For the past 1 week, I have not been to my office because the place is raised down.
It's all right. Thank you very much.
We are saying that they are out of destruction. We are not mixing what we're saying that.
It's all right. Jide, well, thank you for joining us. Might get back to you as the show goes on.
No problem.
Just hold on there. It's all right.
Let me react briefly to what Chief Gideon have just said. Our IPC politicians in Ekiti State, they are hypocrites, playing politics to the gallery. They pretend to do what they are not doing. They do what they say they are not doing.
How do you mean?
The crisis in Ekiti State, let me hit it in the board now, is generated by the fact that they want to get what they have lost through the back door.
It's all right. Let me take you up quickly on that.
Yes.
Because you are a former attorney general, and I believe you're also a legal practitioner.
Yes.
I mean, when exactly did we lose our faith in the court of law? How do you think, are you saying as a legal practitioner that you have also lost faith in that temple of justice?
No, that is not exactly what I'm saying. What the contentious issue that arose is the issue of this E11. The E11 people, they are APC people. They file an application in court. They are not allowed due process to be followed logically in a way that people will see that justice is seen to have been transparently ensured.
But does E11 has the legal right to take that case to court in the first place?
It's not the issue of the locus that the people of the state. It's not the issue of the locus of the claimant that the people of the state are agitating against. What the people of the state agitated against was the fact that the APC people were celebrating just before that day that the governor-elect is not going to be inaugurated. The Speaker of the House of Assembly is going to be sworn in as acting governor, claiming that they have secured, they want to secure an injunction in the court of law to ensure that the governor-elect is not sworn in.
Did you believe that?
I cannot believe that because I'm a party to that case. And I was in court on that particular day. You know, we have to tell you the reality of what happened. We were in court on that day. And we argue 3 applications that has to do with the jurisdictional power of the court to take that matter. And the fact of the case, which the people did not even get, was that the case in that court was not about impeachment. It's about perjury. The case of E11 in court is simply about perjury. They allege that in the electoral form filled by the governor-elect, that he did not disclose there that I left office because I was impeached. Whereas he specifically stated there that I left office as a result of orchestrated failed impeachment. which was a sufficient disclosure of why he left office. Because people did not actually because I was the Attorney General when that impeachment saga came up. The House of Assembly, under the laws that empower them, empowered the CJ of that state, Honorable Justice Bamishile, to set up an impeachment panel. And that impeachment panel was set up by the chief judge of the state then. And the impeachment panel sat and exonerated the governor of all the impeachment offenses levied against him.
You mean the panel that was inaugurated?
That was inaugurated by the chief judge.
Okay.
Just like what happened in Nasarawa State now. And what the Constitution says is that at that stage, that is the end of impeachment. You cannot raise the issue again. But the speaker then, who was acting the script, came and said that he has removed the chief judge. Now appoint his own chief judge, acting chief judge, in the presence of Honorable Justice Aladi Jano.
It's all right.
And I, as the Attorney General then, wrote a petition to the CGA, the Honorable Justice Pegori, that what Honorable Justice Aladi Jano wanted to do is illegal.
I'm afraid we don't have the luxury of time to go that bad.
So as a result of that...
If you said that the 11 case was a case of perjury...
So we were in court. Okay. We were in court in respect of that matter. And I represented holding a watching brief for the ACN, holding that matter. We were in court for that matter. And 3 applications were to be, judgment were to be delivered, ruling were to be delivered in respect of 3 applications. 2 were already delivered, remaining 1.
Okay.
And the judge said that he will step down, he will stand down the matter, go back to his chamber, write the 3rd ruling. And I reminded my Lord that there is no point being in a hurry in respect of this matter, because we still have other pending applications challenging your jurisdiction. Because I'm going to tell you what actually caused this problem on that day. Okay. Challenging your jurisdiction, which we have not taken. Then we have just been served other application this morning by the claimant. They have just filed fresh application that morning, which they have just served us. And we still have nothing less than 7 days to react to that application. And we too have just filed an application served on the claimant. They too have the right to reply to our own.
And you think the chief judge was too much in a hurry?
Yes. I said, my Lord, there was no point. There was no point adjourning to come back by 12. Why not let us adjourn this matter so that we can consider all these applications together?
Was judgment given on that case that day?
No, that is where I'm going.
Okay.
But the judge said, you know, it's a matter that has generated a lot of interest, let me call it. Okay. A lot of interest by the people of the state, by what they were hearing. So the whole court was jam-packed. People were outside, litigants were within the court.
What kind of people? Supporters of the PDP?
Of both parties. Supporters of both parties were in court.
Okay.
In respect of that matter. So my Lord said, it may not be deliberate on his part, but he said to the hearing of everybody there that I'm going to take all these applications together today, irrespective of what is going to be the ruling we are expecting, irrespective of our further reaction that is necessary. So my Lord, the presiding judge, said that to the hearing of everybody within the court. That come by 12 o'clock, I will remember my ruling, I will take the substantive matter today. So, when that happened, we went back to the drawing board. We, defense counsel, we went back to the drawing board. If this is the situation, how do we tackle this matter?
Okay. Do
we go and file a notice of appeal against it? Do we bring the stale of proceedings? How can my Lord take a substantive matter when our defense are not yet in court, when the defense has not filed a defense? How can the substantive matter be taken?
So you personally had an issue with the decision of the church that particular day?
We defense counsel were perturbed that my Lord wanted to go into the substantive matter when we have not even filed a defense. When that date, that particular day was supposed to be for mention, at worst just for ruling, because he initially adjourned for 2 dates. The first day for ruling, the next day, if the ruling is not in our favor, then we file our defense.
But that decision
then we
of
come
the
back.
judge, that decision of the judge at that particular point was made in the court.
Let me tell you what happened.
These people that you call supporters of both parties,
that is where I'm going. That
obviously were not in the court.
That is where I'm going.
Time.
They were in court. That is what I'm saying. I said that case has generated a lot of interest in the state. People were mobilized by the 2 political parties, another interest group to the court premises. And inside the court premises, when my lord said that. So by the time we now came back, by 1:45, another incident occurred. The orderly to the Kubent Attorney General Commissioner for Justice stood at the door, the entrance to the main hall of the sitting room, checking in people, checking in some people, disallowing some people. The orderly to the President Attorney General. So the people that he was not checking in.
Which people were disallowed?
The people that is disallowed were those people that are members of the PDP. Because it's representing, they see as representing APC interest. Because it's the orderly to the incumbent Attorney General Commissioner for Justice. So the people that he was disallowing were those people that were supporters of other political party. So those people, it was those 2 groups now that started this crisis. In an attempt to force each other out, either in or outside.
Was the governor-elect in court on that Monday?
The governor-elect was in Ghana.
Okay, on Monday.
On Monday, it was not around. So it's not a question. So it's not a question of even a disagreement over the ruling of the court.
I'm afraid you have to hold that call for a while. Let's just settle this issue before we enter the course.
It's not an issue of disagreement.
Let us quickly
because
move away
the
from
judge
there
has not
now.
even taken the substantive matter.
It's all right. Let's
the
talk
third ruling has not even been delivered.
I understand.
Let's
talk about what happened
when the political parties started their crisis.
On Thursday, because away from the E11 case, the tribunal case was on Thursday, and the issue of election, they say, is not complete until the election tribunal dispenses all the cases of petitions emanated from such election. What exactly happened on Thursday?
On Thursday, there was the sitting of the election petition tribunal.
Was the governor-elect there on Thursday?
Let me explain what happened. On Thursday, there was the sitting of the election petition tribunal. In a different court, not the court of 22nd. But the people of the state erroneously thought probably it is that same court that wanted to sit again. They mobilized themselves to the court premises in thousands.
Let's take this call from Oshogo. Hello, good morning, Ajayi. How are you today? Are you there?
I'm here.
Please go ahead with the contribution, please.
Okay, good morning. Please, my name is Ajayi from Oshogo. My question is to the former Attorney General of the EKITI State. I just want to ask if he's a member of the PDP or his own is just a representative of government-elect and the court of law, you understand? So because I just want the man to stand where he belongs. If it's prorated by law or he wants to speak for PDP, understand? So I just want to know where he belongs, both sides. I just wanted to clear himself. It's either to stand as a lawyer or to stand as a politician.
Thank you, Ajayi, for calling from Oshogo. Of course, my guest today is a former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, EKITI State, as well as a member of the Transition Committee of the incoming governor-elect, incoming administration of the governor-elect Ayodele Fayose. I believe that answers your question. I want us to quickly address this issue just before we take more calls.
Okay.
These particular people that disrupt court proceedings, Whose supporter were they?
You know, I told you that the people of Ekiti State across the two divides, APC, PDP, and other interest groups, they mobilized themselves to the court, representing shades of interest. For the election petition tribunal, these people thinking that it is the court they thought
The continuation of the E11
of
case.
these 11 cases, all the interest group mobilized to the court. PDP, APC, and ordinary people in the town.
But obviously, it was PDP that wasn't in tune already with the decision of the judge on Monday, just like you said earlier.
Though, mind you that there are other people too that were interested in the outcome of that judgment too, favorably or otherwise.
Okay.
There are other people that were interested. So they were all mobilized to the premises of the High Court. Incidentally, it was the election petition tribunal was sitting somewhere else. Meanwhile, the governor-elect had been advised by his lawyers. He's represented by both Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Yusuf Ali SCN, Ahmed Ragi SCN. They advised him that he should be in the inaugural sitting of that tribunal as a mark of respect to that tribunal.
So the governor-elect was there?
The governor-elect was
present at the court premises on Thursday?
For the tribunal.
Okay.
The events that happened within the premises happened when the governor-elect came in. I was not present when the allegation of assault on the judge, that is where you are going. Okay. At the end of the assault on the judge happened because I was within the tribunal, waiting for the governor-elect to come in.
Okay.
But there was no other court that the governor-elect could have gone to on that day, other than the election petition tribunal that it was scheduled to attend.
What was the involvement of the governor-elect? Because we're running out of time now. What was exactly his involvement in the crisis that ensued at the court premises on Thursday?
So many things have been said in the pages of newspaper concerning that. And we have offered a defense to that. The allegation that the governor-elect assaulted the judge could not have been possible. Okay. It's not possible for us as normal human beings to even assault our clerks or our ordinary staff at home. The governor-elect never did such a thing. And the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice has also confirmed that.
Is it possible that the governor-elect could have persuaded the supporters who many now report that were aggressive?
It's not. There must be a cause for every event.
Okay.
The governor-elect has no issue whatsoever with that Honorable Justice Adiyeyi. It's not the judge hardening the E11 case. He's not a member of the election petition tribunal. They have never met before. What would be the cause for crisis between them?
You were a former Attorney General.
No issues whatsoever.
You were a former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice in EKITI State. Was that a political appointment?
Yes, exactly. That was a political appointment.
I'm going somewhere. Do you still believe in the credibility of the judiciary in EKITI State?
Definitely. Definitely.
What exactly?
Let me tell you these issues that happened. All reasonable Nigerians, which we associate ourselves with, are condemned whatever actions of invasion of the court, destruction of the court proceedings. And as a former member of the Nigerian Bar Association, as the former chairman of that branch, I've joined our members in condemning that action.
That's all right.
There is no sane people that we condemn an action of an outright invasion and destruction of court proceedings. But trying to attribute that to a particular person
you made your
is
point
what
already.
Is objectionable.
Let us round up this way. You made it clear in your opening remarks that the transition committee on your side have not been able to meet with the other transition committee. What impact do you think this would have on the much-awaited inauguration on October 16th?
whether anybody likes this or not, the tenure of the current administration will end by 12 midnight on October 15. And the new governor.
Whether anybody likes it or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that is the law of Nigeria.
What if the court says, is it possible that any court that is sitting presently says otherwise?
There is no how any court sitting presently can say otherwise.
It's all right.
Because there is no such prayers. There is no such prayer before any court sitting presently. Whether the tribunal or the 11 case, there is no such prayers that can stop the inauguration. Of course, there can not be any vacuum.
That's all right. In
the government of a state. And the only person that can take over on October 16 is the governor-elect.
That's all right.
There's nobody else.
Thank you very much, Owoseni Ajayi, former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, EKITI State. He's as well a member of the Transition Committee of the incoming administration of the governor-elect Elderly Fayose. We were joined earlier also by Julia Webb, the APC chairman of EKITI State, who also, brought us into the position of that party as regards this transition period. We'll take a break now and we'll be back with more on Core Digest. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision-making.
I see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.